Hi and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Wow, I'll tell you what, I'm sat in this room at the moment and it is hot. It's a beautiful day outside. I went out cycling earlier, I went for a walk. That's how much I was enjoying it out there. The weather is nice. And do you know what? We would have been playing Villa away this weekend. That would have been a nice fixture. We would actually be coming towards the end of the football season. If you look at it. So I think it'd be Villa this week, and then was it Norwich next? No, Watford, our last game of the season at home. I mean, the season would have been winding down. We would have been looking forward to finding out where we're going to be doing our pre-season friendlies and doing a little travel around the world. Oh man, I'm gutted. I am gutted, you know. But hey, maybe football might be on the return. You can see that football is starting to get played back in certain countries. They played a game in South Korea last night, so that was their first game back there. Played it behind closed doors, but looks like that went off well. Of course, you've got the games that are coming up in Germany soon, in the middle of May, in the Bundesliga, and we all know that the Premier League are keeping an eye on it to see how they get on with the Bundesliga, to see if they can bring the Premier League back. Now, you know, if you get a chance today, check out the All Guns Blazing podcast that came out this morning with me and DT. We're having a big row about it. I mean, he thinks that there should be no football, full stop, just forget it. Me personally, I'm looking on it like this. I'm a solution-based guy. That's how I am. And how I'm looking on it is if it's safe, and it has to be safe, and the doctors, the medical people, the government have to say it's safe. It's not. It shouldn't be, and it won't be a decision that will be made by the Premier League or the FA or anybody like that. But if those experts say it's safe, then I would love to see football get back on track. And you know, there's several plans, neutral grounds. They're talking about the possibility of having more substitutes, because obviously the players, their fitness will be a problem. So they're trying to come up with a solution to get it back on and play it behind closed doors and finish the season. God knows we've been talking about it for so many weeks. I think everybody would like to see the season finished, unless you're a Norwich fan. So it would be fantastic if we could finish the season safely and securely. If we can't, then you got to scrap it. You got to just say cancel the season. But if we can finish this season safely, it'd be great to see. And as I said, good signs over there in South Korea. What's happening in Germany? Those are good signs to say that there's a possibility that we could get the season finished. And I think that's where most people and what most people would like to see, if it can be done in safe conditions. Now, rumors around today that Arsenal have been linked with a youngster who's he's currently at Leicester. This youngster, let me see if I can find him here. Yes, his name is called Dennis Giamfi. Now, you wouldn't have heard a lot about him because he plays as a right back. He's only 18, and you know it's really difficult for him to break into that Leicester team with Pereira being there. Pereira, for me, you know, arguably the best right back in the league, between him and Trent Alexander-Arnold. But this kid's sort of tapping around in the background. He's said to be a very, very good player, really big prospect. And Arsenal are looking to poach him from Leicester. They'd have to pay compensation to get him, but they are looking to poach him away from Leicester and get him into the team. And I suppose if he came to Arsenal, he's still going to be a backup right back. But maybe the prospects of, well, we say playing for a bigger club. It will be a bigger club. The prospects of what? Getting into the Champions League. Leicester look in better shape to do that right now. But certainly Arsenal looking to add to their pool of young, talented players. They obviously see that as the way forward, especially with what's going on with the current coronavirus crisis. So Dennis Giamfi, you may not have heard of him, may hear a lot more about him in the coming few months, because Arsenal said to be interested in him. Now, remember we did that poll, Aubameyang or Icardi, And again, if you haven't seen the Buyers Premier League show, Troops was killing me yesterday on the show with his saying that he'd only take Icardi if he ditched his wife. Oh my God, he was hilarious yesterday. But we did a poll on it. Would you swap Mario Icardi for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? Of course, Icardi is a top player, scored over 20 goals for PSG this season, has regularly been a big goal scorer when he's been playing in Italy with Milan. And there's been this talk of a supposed swap deal between Aubameyang and Icardi. So we put it out there and we ask you the question, would you do a swap? Well, 70% of you said no, you would not swap Icardi for Aubameyang. 22% of you said yes. 8% were indifferent, so you were mixed on it. So overwhelmingly, you do not want to swap Aubameyang for Icardi. And we had a great show last night. If you haven't checked that one out, make sure you check that out as well. Great show last night with Philippe Senderos, ex-Arsenal defender. He was on the show and he spoke about the importance of keeping Aubameyang. And he also was very interesting on the show. He was really bigging up Mikel Arteta and the great job that he's done. And Arteta's going to need his persuasive qualities here to get Aubameyang on board. We really want to keep Aubameyang. And I think you can see that reflected through, we've done a couple of polls now over the past few weeks, and every time everybody's come out and said, listen, let's keep Aubameyang. So even though linked with a top quality player like Icardi, fans would like to keep Aubameyang. We'd also like to keep Bukayo Saka. Now, there's rumours again today linking him with a move away. Remember, he only has 1 year left on his deal after this year. He's only on about $3,000 a week. It's been a breakthrough season for him this year. It's come from absolute nowhere in the reserve team and has come into the first team, and he has grabbed his opportunity with both hands, and he's been one of the most impressive players in the whole team, let alone young players in the whole team this season. Whether it be playing on the wing, he's excelled. Forced to play as a left back, excelled there as well. Been excellent. Really has been one of the shining lights. And again, Philippe Senderos yesterday bigging him up on the show. Now, Saka, should we keep him or should we let him go? Well, I think it's a very obvious answer. We need to keep him. And we're hearing today that Liverpool are very, very interested. Lots of publications going with this report today that Liverpool want to get a deal done to bring Saka in. Of course, if he went in there, if he'd be interested, where would he play? Because at least at Arsenal, he's getting a lot of first team football. At Liverpool, at left back, they've got Robertson. You'd have to say the best left back in the league right now. It's really been an incredible left back. And then, playing on the left up front, you've got Mane and Salah and people like that. So you're not going to get in there. So for me, Saka should stay put. Arsenal said to be working on a 5-year deal for him. The talk is that it's been put on hold because of the coronavirus crisis. Now, I don't understand that. Why would you put it on hold? Now's the time to get it done. Just get it done. Get it completed this time to, negotiate with Saka and get this deal done. So, but certainly I would like to see Arsenal hurry up and get this deal done, because when you've got teams like Liverpool hovering, it's, even though, it would be very difficult to break into that team, come on, it's going to be attractive. He would have seen what Oxlade-Chamberlain has done since he's gone to Liverpool. His career's taken off. He's been winning pure things. He's going to win the league, right? He will look at Liverpool and say, well, if I went to Liverpool, I'd have a chance of, winning the league, playing in the Champions League, playing in all the big stuff. So I think Arsenal need to hurry up and get this deal done, because if the longer they take, the more and more teams are hovering. Borussia Dortmund, another one of those teams that are interested in him. They are the sort of team that could bring him in and offer him first team football. So I think it is very, very important that Arsenal hurry up and get these deals done. Because if we don't, we could be seeing another one of our top talents leaving the club. And that is the last thing we want to see right now. Getting into your comments, Tahir says, sign the contract, Saka. Well, has the contract been put in front of him? That's the thing. As I said, there's been this talk of them holding the contract for the, until after this crisis, or just get it done. Get it done. Zaidi said, why would he stay? No chance of winning any major trophies. Makes sense. He needs to think of his career, but he's thinking of his career. He'd be playing week in, week out at Arsenal. Chrissy says, if we allow Saka to move to Liverpool, I'll stop supporting Arsenal. Enough is enough. Oh, jeez. LJW said Saka would be stupid to reject it. Morbid says he's not really a left back. He wants to play on the wings for Arsenal, right? Malu says every Arsenal player who left the club on bad terms ruined their career. And Jason Lee says, why wouldn't he want to play for the greatest team the world has ever seen? He's obviously a Liverpool fan. It would be tempting. You're playing under Klopp as well, so it would be tempting for him. But this is why Arsenal need to hurry up and get the deal done. He's at Arsenal through and through. He's grown up. He's come right through the system. Why, I'm sure if they make him the right type of offer, he's going to want to stay. Just get the deal done. Tom says with super chat here, thank you. He says, if Saka himself is tempted to move, we're no longer a big club. No ambition, no vision. Lose Chambers to a bigger club. Aubameyang, Lacazette, KT rumours. Saka should have £100 million buyout. That's true. He should have something like that. We never have. How comes our players never have those buyout clauses and stuff like that? We never have those 100 millions and stuff like that, buyout clauses and that. How comes? I don't know. Cedar says Bayern have announced new contracts for Davis and Muller during this lockdown, so why can't Arsenal do the same? And very true, very true. You do wonder why. Tinted Red Glasses says he's still young. You don't need to rush away from the Emirates. He's got time to go to Madrid or Juventus. That is true. If that's his ambition in the future, he's still a very young player. He's only 18. He's got this whole thing ahead of him, But then he could also be looking at it and saying, yeah, but I could have it ahead of me at Liverpool, So, Dr. Vera says, hi, Rob. What's your take on the change of rules by the IFAB about allowing teams to use up to 5 substitutions in a game once football resumes? Do you think it's an unfair advantage to the top teams? Now, again, this is what we were sort of discussing a lot on the podcast, and I said you can check it out. I'm all right with some of these changes if it's what it's going to take to get the season finished. It's not ideal. We only want 3 subs, but you've got to remember, again, going back to Philip Senderos, who played the game. We was talking to him last night, and he's talking about it's going to be virtually impossible for the players to get fit in time. So I think this is a measure to help with that, to help to sort out the fact that you're going to have players that are not going to be up to their normal fitness. So you may need to make more substitutions. It kind of makes sense to me. It's not ideal, none of these things, but it's unusual circumstances. And that might mean that we need unusual things to come in so that we can get it completed. In the time of war, you have to have rations. I mean, it's not, nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. But sometimes you have to change things up a bit just so that you can get the season completed. So it's not ideal. I don't really like it, but I understand it. And if that's what it takes to get the season finished, I don't see that there's a major problem in my eyes. Crazy Christian 1 says, Robbie, this question is off topic. What Real Madrid, what player from Real Madrid would you take if you had the chance? A lot of them, man. I like that Vincenzius. He's an excellent player. He really is a good player. And there's that Valverde as well. A couple of those young players they got coming up are absolutely outstanding. Vincent says Robertson, Saka with Mane and or Salah on that side is a fairly attacking. Now get off of that, man. Stop. This band says selling Saka will be fuming for all of us. Should keep him at any cost. He's only 18. He's the sort of player that you have to hold on to. Habib says, hey, Robbie, who will your ideal signing be for this transfer window, considering the situation at Arsenal right now? Well, Partey would be a great signing, but considering the situation, that may not happen. Shrey says, Robbie, why would Aubameyang want to go to Inter where he might not start? Lukaku and Martinez have been top draw at Inter. They are given the nod ahead of Aubameyang, but they'll be given the nod ahead of Aubameyang by Conte. Well, you've got to remember that that's if they manage to keep hold of Martinez, because he is one of the players that Real Madrid are really interested in signing. And if they do, then they're going to need a striker. And they don't want to take Icardi back because of all what's happened between them. So it's, Aubameyang would work. Shante says, Saka is of interest to Dortmund, United and Liverpool. All three can offer more than Arsenal. Saka is most likely to go to Dortmund. Every young English player has seen Sancho's rise. What I would say is different, though, in the Jadon Sancho thing. Jadon Sancho moved to Dortmund because he wasn't getting any game time at Manchester City. He was at Manchester City. He was looked upon as a great talent, but he wasn't getting any game time. And also, he just looked on it and thought to himself, I'm not going to get no game time in the future either, because there's so many superstars here and I'm just not going to get game time. Look at, what's happening with Phil Foden. So he decided to move to Dortmund, and one of the reasons was because he would get a lot of game time. Saka at Arsenal is getting game time, a lot of game time, and the manager loves him, and he will get lots of game time in the future. So I don't think that is what's going to come into it. As a matter of fact, if he went to Liverpool, you could argue he would definitely get less game time because he's not going to get in ahead of Robertson at left back, and he's not going to get in ahead of Mane on the left wing. So or Salah. So Arsenal, if they make the right deal for him, I'm sure he will stay. Leon Dyer says Saka is more likely to win trophies at Liverpool. Arsenal now, he says, not for a few years realistically. Also, we're not really good at developing young talent anymore. I say let him go for his career. What do you mean we're not good at developing young talent? What is Saka? He's one of our young talents. What is Joe Willock? What is Reece Nelson? What is Ainsley Maitland-Niles? We are good at developing young talent. All of these guys have come through the system. So I disagree with you there. Sam the Man 015 says Saka has no chance of getting into the starters in Liverpool. Why can he contend to play for Arsenal's 11? He has a chance to be the future with the likes of Martinelli, etc. And that's a great argument there. Tate says even if Saka does want to go somewhere bigger, he can do that in 5 years' time. I believe with the other youth in the squad and Arteta driving, it's a very attractive place to play. What do you think? Yeah, and again, I'd concur with that as well. It's gonna be over the next few years a place where young players are going to have a chance to excel at Arsenal, especially with what's been going on recently, and they have a great academy and great facilities. Kenneth Lynch says necessity is the mother of invention. We need to keep Saka and Aubameyang. Saka is a great talent, and Kenneth, you are 100% spot on. Spot on. Khalid says Saka will stay. Liverpool don't need him. If he joins them, he will end up like Solanke in Chelsea. Well, listen, I don't think he would end up that way because Klopp is a guy that he likes good young players, but certainly he would have better opportunities at Arsenal to play more football. Christian C says the stalling of Saka's contract is a strategic plan to keep pressure on Arsenal to get the perfect deal. Well, we don't know who stalled it, whether that is Saka's people or Arsenal. What I'm hearing is that I'd heard that Arsenal's people had stalled it. So I don't know. Who knows? We don't know. No, the honest truth is, and what I always say in these matters is, we don't know. We are not privy exactly to what is going on. So, I think probably it's the club that that's what I'd heard, that the club had said that we'll get it all sorted out once the season's done, once this coronavirus thing's sort of completed. But for me, just do it now. Let's just get it done. Let's just get it sorted. A few more here. George Chapman says, Robbie, Arteta going to do something big at Arsenal, hopefully with some backing. Watch out, you haters. Well, if he gets the backing, I hope he does get the backing. He deserves to get the backing. Again, as I said, check out the Philip Senderos interview we did yesterday. He's full of praise for Arteta. He said he played with him at Everton. He goes, guy is a great guy. And he said, what the very interesting thing that Senderos said was that really broke it. When he was saying that, it really broke it down to me. He said he's just doing the simple things. He simplified everything. And that's what you need sometimes. Sometimes you get managers come in and everything's all complicated and they're writing down notes every minute and do this and Emery was playing, everybody could see, for instance, that, certain players, just play them in their right position. Torreira is not a number 10. He's a great defensive midfielder. Just play him there. That's all Arteta's done. You're a DM, play there. And do what you can do. Do what we know you can do. That's all he did. And getting so simplifying things. Really true what Senderos was saying yesterday. Mayor 3828 says, hey, Robbie, what does swap deals mean for agents' fees? The agents always get paid, mate. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. There'll always be an agent fee in there for them sorting it all out and everything. So don't worry about the agents always get their money. Marco says, Robbie, would you take Memphis Depay for around 25 million? He has about a year left on his deal at Lyon. Well, I think he'd go for a lot more money than that. He's a very good player. Very good player. Even more, can you imagine him and Aubameyang in the same dressing room, man? Wow, that would be flamboyant. But he's a very good player. But striker-wise, just keep hold of what we've got at the moment. Again, you know what? I had a great conversation with Philip Senderos yesterday, even off air. And another thing he was talking about was Lacazette. He was saying, Robbie, Lacazette and Aubameyang have a great relationship, right? And he was saying that in football, you don't always get those sort of relationships. So what he was saying is if you say, for instance, you sell Lacazette and you bring in a Timo Werner, say, he goes, Werner's going to want to play week in, week out. There may not be that connection with him and Aubameyang, whereas Aubameyang and Lacazette, they just work together. You can see there's a great relationship between them. So even if Lacazette's on the bench, he's willing Aubameyang to do his best. That sort of dynamic in the dressing room is really, really important. And we do have that amongst some of the players. So we've got to think very carefully how we just say, oh, get rid of him and bring him in. And we've got to get the right balance in that team and in the dressing room as well. Aditya says, trust in Arteta. He says, and I believe that we shouldn't convince a player to stay at a great club like Arsenal. Invest in players that believe in the culture. And that is one of the things he said the other day. King's the Opera says, why not have five substitutions for 5 games, then 3 for the remaining 5? It's all going to be, I think they're thinking about bringing this thing in all to do with fitness. Because they realize that, if they get the season going again, it's going to be tough on the players because they haven't had, that they haven't been in constant training, they haven't been doing proper training, and they ain't going to be able to do like a proper pre-season to get them back in shape. True said it says, where's the Adidas money gone? Should be able to get Saka and Aubameyang to stay and buy top players. Well, I'm sure the Adidas money is still there, but we've got this coronavirus crisis as well, which is eating up a load of money of every football club right now. Malagana says Saka could be our very own Bale. Certainly, he wouldn't ruin his career by sitting on the bench of Liverpool. Why sell your soul career for trophies? Good point. He should stay. I'm going to do a few more here. Amar23 says, if a club the size of Arsenal is struggling to convince an 18-year-old to stay who just broke into the team this season, how are we supposed to attract any world-class players then? So makes that point very strongly there. This guy called himself Floyd Mayweather says, Robbie, you're right. Things need to start again, and football is a good place to start. The economy hit is going to be more deadly than COVID. Respect. Again, check that out. Watch. And is another counter thing to that. And this is what it was sort of back and forth between me and DT. He said, Arteta. Oh, that wasn't the comment I was trying to find. But anyway, I'll do it anyway. He says Arteta should not allow Aubameyang and Saka to go because he's not going to get the money for players. Why should he sell ones? Where was that one I was trying to find there, which was sort of a counter? Here it was. Abdullah, he was saying the people that are pushing to open the economy is the billionaire and tax dodging pricks. Players will revolt who have families. You're losing polls on the podcast, Robbie. Listen, let me just explain something with me when it comes to my opinions. I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. I know DT's always, well, get up a poll up. But I have my opinions. I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. It doesn't matter to me if I win the poll or whether I lose the poll. It's my opinion. And in my opinion, and I think a lot of people have read, I saw a couple of comments. A lot of people are not even looking properly into what I said. What I actually said is that if it's safe, and I said this about 3-4 times, so I don't know how people have kind of missed it, but if it's safe, if the politicians and the medical people, even more importantly than the politicians, the medical people say, you know what, we feel it's safe to finish the season, then we should finish it. Because it's not just the billionaires. You know what? The billionaires will still be all right when this finishes. They'll lose a lot of money, but the billionaires and those rich people, they're still going to be good. It's the people that work in the club shop. It's the people who work in the office at Arsenal and all these various football clubs. They're going to be the first people to go. First people to lose their job, right? Clubs are not going to want to take the furlough on. They're going to lay people off. There's a lot of people going to lose their jobs. So if it's safe, remember that word, safe, to play football, then we should do it. Finish the season. And what I'm saying is, I see a lot of things being put forward as solutions to try and get it finished. And that's all they are, some of them. They're suggestions. And the way that they get put down and it's all negative and this is ridiculous and just void it. And, you know, I mean, it's all right for us who maybe don't work at a football club to say that, but those will be the people out of the job. It's not going to be Stan Kroenke. He's going to be all right. Stan Kroenke, the Glazers, the owners, prospective owners of Newcastle, the owners of most of these clubs, they'll have a tough time keeping the business afloat. It'll be tough for them, but they will still be all right. The billionaires will survive. But the guys lesser than are going to be the first ones to lose their jobs. So take that into account. So I'm not in no popularity contest. I'm being real here. And sometimes when you have tough situations, the unpopular decision, you know, Churchill, we talked about VA day yesterday. Churchill made a lot of very unpopular choices in the war. That were then, when the war was finished, everybody said how great he was and how, as a guy, stood by his convictions. So sometimes it's not just about running with what everybody's saying. Oh yeah, we should just void it. And if it's not safe to put on, then we don't play it. Simple. Safety comes first. It's not safe to do. But if it is safe to do, let's finish the season. That's what I think. Just my opinion. And as I said, if you don't agree, I have absolutely no problem with that. That's your opinion, and that's fantastic. Listen, we've got a fantastic show for you tonight. We've got a very, very special guest on AFTV News Daily this evening. We have got the guy who scored one of Arsenal's biggest goals of all time. They're showing the documentary at the moment on Sky, 89. Michael Thomas, ex-Arsenal player and Liverpool player, he's going to be coming on tonight. So make sure you check that out. That's going to be on tonight. So many comments. I'm going to do a couple more comments. They're still flooding in. But Michael Thomas on tonight. Make sure you check that out live and direct here on AFTV News Daily. Floyd Mayweather says again, he goes, it goes further than football, Robbie, but I'm glad you're sticking to your opinion, bro. People need to do their research. As I said, I'm not trying to win popularity contests. And I respect everybody's opinion. Here, their KKV says clearly it's not safe. More people are infected every day. But KKV, they're not talking about starting it now. They're looking to start in the future when they're told it's safe. So it would be completely irresponsible to say, right, we're going to start right now. But they're looking in the future. So that's what, everybody needs to. The problem is sometimes, and that's why I've kind of been really limiting what I watch on TV now, because you turn on your TV and it's so negative. You've got all these 24-hour news channels, and basically there's only one story at the moment, and it's coronavirus. So every day it's almost like they're trying to say to themselves, how do we repackage that coronavirus story? And they will do anything. They sensationalize it. They'll talk about how many cases of it, and it's terrible. And, as I said, I've known someone who's died from it. I've known my cousin's had it. A good friend of mine's had it and was told he only had a 20% chance of survival. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But it's just spreading complete negative news and negative energy around it all the time, 24 hours a day, doesn't help either. We have to start talking about solutions. How do we get through this? How do we learn to live with it? Because at the moment, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to learn at the moment until we get a vaccine. We're going to have to learn how to live with this horrible disease out there. Is there a way of doing that? I don't know. I'm not a medical expert. Is there a way of doing that? Is there a way of living? We've got to explore every option. And it's the same when it comes to football. We've got to explore every option. We've got to look at what they're doing in Germany. We've got to look at South Korea, who, as I said right at the start of the show, started back football. We've got to look at what they're doing, So how can we do it? Can we do it? If we can't, we can't. But let's have a go and let's try. Let's just not defeat it. No, just shut it down. We're never going to, because I'm telling you this, we're not going to be able to stay inside forever. We can't. Because if we stay inside forever, when we come outside, there's going to be nothing left. But that's just my opinion. And watch the podcast and give your opinion. And as I said, do not forget tonight, Michael Thomas live here on AFTV. He's such a great guy as well. It's going to be really, really good to get him on. So looking forward to that tonight. Michael Thomas live here on AFTV News Daily. Have yourself an incredible day. Enjoy yourself as much as you can and stay safe.